All right, a happy Sunday evening. Greetings from Los Angeles. I think I'm in the exact spot where we did the other video, the Lakers video, 10 hours ago. And I figured we would do a whip around end of June 29th, um, free agency eve video. We got a lot of news today as far as coming out, and I think we'll just kind of go team to team. we will put out the graphics on the bandwidths. I call it the bandwidths of the salary cap. We've got four tiers, starting with the tier 1 teams, which is Brooklyn, Detroit, and Memphis. Those are what I consider the cap space teams. Brooklyn is going to be a wild card in all of this because they have to spend 90% of the salary cap. They basically have to spend $45 million by the first day of the regular season. Keep an eye on Brooklyn as far as the team taking back I don't want to say bad contracts, but being part of a team, part of 3-team deals, more of a destination for some salary dumps and some contracts that are attached. So we will keep an eye on Brooklyn over the next few days here. Detroit, in light of the Malik Beasley situation, not much to say about that. They have a projected $17 million in cap space. They need shooting. They have no Beasley, likely no Dennis Schroeder, and we'll see what happens with Tim Hardaway Jr. We saw how good Detroit can be when they have shooting around. Cade Cunningham, they are going to take a hit. So we will keep an eye on Detroit, keep an eye on Karis LeVert potentially to Detroit. Memphis, their cap space is going to go towards a Jaren Jackson Jr. renegotiation and extension. They have to clear out a little bit more room. We'll keep an eye on a player like Cole Anthony, perhaps, as far as what happens with him. They will have the room mid-level exception to go out and sign a player. The bandwidth, the tier 1 teams all will have the $8.8 million room mid-level once cap space is exhausted. The tier 2 teams, that is the mother load. That is 4, 5, 10, 15. There are 19 out of the 30 teams in the tier 2 teams. Holy moly. Those are the teams that have the $14.1 million non-tax mid-level exception, the 5.1 biannual. We have the graph that shows you what triggers the apron. For example, if Golden State brings back Jonathan Kuminga, it's likely they don't have that exception. The same with Indiana. A couple other teams on here, but all these teams, these are the sweet spot teams. This is where if there's if free agency is defined by anything, it's defined by the mid-tier guys. And as we see, there's 19 teams in this mid-tier. We will keep an eye on Atlanta over the next week. They've got that big $25.3 million trade exception. Remember, once June 30th at 6 expires, trade market is done for until July 6th in the afternoon. We're basically in a holding freeze here. Keep an eye on Atlanta. They've got that trade exception. They also have the $14.1 million non-tax mid-level. I would expect their backcourt to strengthen here. Charlotte made the trade with Utah today to get Colin Sexton. Certainly they get a starter in Sexton and certainly can flip him again. He's on a $19 million expiring. They have the non-tax mid-level exception. Chicago, let's watch Chicago with Josh Giddey and Trey Jones. There's enough flexibility there. Golden State, the future of Kuminga, basically plays a big role as far as what flexibility Golden State has. I would keep an eye on signing trades regarding Jonathan Kuminga. They're at $17 million below the tax. If Kuminga went elsewhere and they took back some salary, they still probably will have use of the 14.1 non-tax mid-level exception. Houston, the unofficial winners of the offseason. I don't know if they want to be in that category, considering we gave Philadelphia the nod last year. They are the unofficial winners. Jabari Smith Jr., 5 for 122, I believe. They are in a really good position with their players locked up. They're in a great position moving forward. They could have the $14.1 million non-tax mid-level if they waive, I think, Jock Londale. He's got an $8 million non-guaranteed. Indiana, we'll keep an eye on Miles Turner. If Turner is signed, they do not have the non-tax mid-level exception. Clips bring back James Harden. two for 81. I'll be interested to see that contract. It's a partial with a team option, kind of funky language there. They do have flexibility with the non-tax 14.1. Keep an eye on them to get some backcourt depth. Who is next? Lakers. We already went through the Lakers. We did a whole 15-minute video. Keep an eye on the Lakers. What happens with the non-tax mid-level exception? You can split that exception up into two people. Keep an eye on that. The Heat get Duncan Robinson's early termination exercise. I know people are like, well, that's not the language. I don't care. He basically declined the option in this contract. They are sitting pretty right now. Robinson's going to get the $10 million he gave back somewhere. I don't know if it's going to be with the Heat, could be in a signing trade. We'll keep an eye on Miami, but Miami is in a position to do a signing trade and also perhaps use the $14.1 million non-tax mid-level exception. All of a sudden, Miami could get better awfully quick here. So we will keep an eye on Miami. Milwaukee brings back Bobby Portis, 3 for 42, 43, somewhere around there. They have the $14.1 million non-tax mid-level exception. Also, there's some work to do in Milwaukee. New Orleans, let's see, OKC signs Jalen Williams, 3 for 24. Contract starts at 8-4, it declines, and then it flattens. There's a team option. AJ Mitchell, 3 for 9. Have not seen his contract yet, but probably 3. It's a flat. They are below the luxury tax, and they've got 15 players under contract. They're in a pretty sweet spot. Orlando, they declined the options of Mo Wagner and Caleb Houston, who I kind of like. They have most of their non-tax mid-level exception. Remember, they are hard capped at the second apron. If you use 5.7 million or more of the non-tax, you get hard capped at the first apron. So they could probably have about $13 million to spend with that. Philly, Quentin Grimes is the player to watch there. He's a restricted free agent. They had Eric Gordon declined his option, and Kelly Oubre opted in. Gordon is basically semantics. The likelihood he's back on a minimum, and Philadelphia saves about $1.4 million. When you have a player on a veteran minimum contract and he signs a 2-year deal, you get the full cap amount for the years of service. So for Eric, it was $3.4 million. By declining that and signing a 1-year deal, it's at 2.3. So there are savings there. If Grimes comes back, it is unlikely that you are going to have, you might have the $5.7 million. Likely, I would say that's probably more in line as far as the $5.7 million tax mid-level exception. Portland, the DeAndre Ayton buyout. We will keep an eye on that number. I'm not giving it an exact. I'm just projecting. I would think the buyout somewhere between $8 and $10 million. That's probably what he'll get in the market. They have the non-tax mid-level exception to open up. Donovan Clingan moves to the starter. There you go. Sacramento, keep an eye on point guard. They have the non-tax mid-level. San Antonio, of course, we've talked about them. They've got flexibility to go out and maybe they're a destination for Ayton there to pair with Victor. Utah makes a trade for Jusuf Nurkic. Both salaries basically matched up. They had to give up his future second in 2030. Nurkic is on an expiring contract, roughly 19 and change. They are in position also to use their non-tax mid-level exception. The Wizards, we've talked about before, $100 million plus in expirings. Here's your bandwidth tier 3 teams. Boston, fringe moves, minimums, staying under the second apron. Dallas, of course, we talked about with Kyrie. They've got the $5.7 million. Keep an eye on a temporary replacement for Kyrie. Denver gets Sarge to opt in. They've got the non-tax mid-level exception. Minnesota is interesting with the Randall contract, 3 for 90. They do have the $5.7 million tax mid-level that triggers the second apron. They would be able to sign a minimum guy, but as we saw with Dallas last year, the one thing you don't want to be is stuck with $1.5 million below the second apron, or I think it would be 173, and basically have no wiggle room at all. What do we got? What do we got here? There. So that's Minnesota. I would say it's the minimum game for Minnesota. New York has the $5.7 million tax mid-level exception. Toronto, they are a tax team, folks. That's not a place you want to be. Um, they are in a interesting spot. Yikes! I have Kelly Oubre as Kelly Olynyk as extension eligible. My thing. Sorry. Here we go. Oh, sorry. That is your tier 3 teams, and now here's your tier 4 teams. Cleveland, they are over the second apron. They are allowed to sign a player who's bought out of his contract for $14.1 million or more. Certainly, we will keep an eye on Cleveland as far as what their next move is. That rule only applies during the regular season. They bring back Sam Merrill, of course. They're likely going to lose Ty Jerome. They have Lonzo Ball, of course. And then Phoenix, the last of the tier 2 teams. We will keep an eye on Bradley Beal. I think we should pay attention to what happens with Beal over the next few days. They will have, but depending on what they have, right now they've got $400 million in committed salary. Remember, in a Beal waive and stretch, they can't just waive him. He's got to take a buyout because you can have the maximum allowed that you can have counting towards the salary cap in a buyout and stretch is 15% of it. So roughly it's 23 million. They've already got $3.8 million owed on Nasir Little. So we'll keep an eye on Beal over the next few days. We will probably start seeing some signings as far as players who are rookie scale contracts can sign their contracts. Players with veteran minimum contracts, we're going to get the cap numbers tomorrow night, which we think are the same, 10% increases here. But just a whip around as far as before free agency starts. The group of names is not terrific, but that is life in free agency. I think we're going to see some extensions. We'll see some trades over the next few days. And of course, we will keep an eye on our friend LeBron James in Los Angeles. Have a great night. We will talk soon. NBA on ESPN.